When people are assessing whether some game will be successful or not, they are looking at many different factors. They are looking who is the team behind the game, what is the tokenomics of the game, what is the graphics, is the game fun, and they're assessing so many different factors. While actually, you can look at only one thing that will aggregate all these data into one crucial number that will determine the future outcome of the game. So stay tuned in this video and we'll deep dive into it. Hello everyone, I'm Željko and welcome to CryptoGrid channel. So I'll be straightforward. The indicator that pretty much aggregates all this data is actually the number of people that are playing the game, and usually the best representation of that is the unique wallet addresses that are used in the game, and usually that's looked up for a certain time frame. I prefer to use longer time frames. I will deep dive into that later. But the factor with this is if you see this number is increasing, this usually means that the demand for the token or demand for the NFTs that are released by that game will rise eventually. Or it means that if you can see like that coin pattern chart that you won't have anyone to sell your NFTs, or that the token price will go down just because the number of players is decreasing. So if you have the game that is present on the market for a while, this is especially good indicator, at least in my opinion. And yeah, owners of the game can fake this data to some point, but it's impossible to fake it over the longer time frame because usually they will have to pay at least for the network transactions, and if the activity is falling off, there is no point in doing this, right? So let me show you how I'm looking at this. I usually go to the app radar, I go to the game section, and here you can see games pretty much shorted. I usually like to switch to 30 days time frame, and you need to keep in mind that even these charts on the right are not the correct representation of what's happening. Usually you want to open the game, for example, let's take Wild Forest for example, you want to scroll to the historical activity and you want to show, for example, all. And this is how you want chart to look like. For example, you can see that the number of unique wallets is increasing over time, and this pretty much shows that more and more people are getting interested in the game over time. And this is especially something that you should take into consideration if you're playing some game that just launched player to airdrop or something like that, because these kind of games will usually have a huge spike during these campaigns, since a lot of people in the Web3 space are trying to extract as much value as possible. But as soon as this event ends, often you will see that the activity is falling off drastically. So pretty much in some games, you can pretty much see it dropping to the baseline. Also, as I said, this will determine the price of the token and the price of NFTs in the future as well. And unless you have some super high inflation of NFTs or something like that, if you bought here and the number of players is increasing, the odds that the price of these NFTs will go down is actually very small. And this is how you want to see charts to look like. So pretty much you open the game, scroll down and just select all or 1 year time frame. You can see it even at lower time frames. And this is one of the good examples. This is also, for example, Seraph. You can see pretty much that the activity is consistently increasing. So these are both two great examples. For example, the chart that you don't want to see is, for example, Lumitera. I'm not sure if they are making some break, was it bad or something like that. But pretty much you saw the spike in the activity at some point. I remember people speaking how like they couldn't even kill mobs because there were so many players. And now there is like zero activity in comparison to where the game was before. The sad thing is that majority of the games actually end up with this pattern, and majority of the games actually fall off. And this is the reason why I don't see airdrop campaigns, especially in a game that's not like developed to a point where majority of the bugs are eliminated and things like that, is not the right approach. You usually want to acquire users by recommendation, and you want slow increase in users, and you don't want to have like people to try your game and dislike it because they will never give it another chance again. And Yeah, some of the people will perceive that the retention rate in Web3 games is higher than in Web2 space, but one of the reasons is like if you have smaller amount of players and many of these players are actually focused specifically on Web3 games. That's one reason. Another reason is that you had lower peak initially, so the decrease will be smaller as well, and people often look up to the games they're gonna play, and often they will look at a specific chain, like I wanna play only the games that are on Ronin, or I wanna play only the games that are on Immutable, for example, or something similar. So this happened to me before I started looking into this. If you buy some NFTs here and the amount of players drops by 90%, there is no way that the NFT price will sustain in a longer run. So it's something that you want to keep in mind as well. Also, I think this DApp Radar is a good website to identify and look for new games as well. So often I will just select new and look at the list of the games and look at each of them specifically and find if something is interesting to me, so you can utilize it in that way as well. Also, majority of the time I use this as delayed indicator, because if you see that the game is falling off, you will see the price is falling off, you will see the community on Discord and other servers being very dissatisfied over some time. This is often the main thing for which investors are also looking for, so it will be very difficult for them to raise funding for the next rounds as well. So it pretty much aggregates all the data. Sometimes it will take 1 week, sometimes it will take few months that you see these things happening in the end. But this is the reason why you actually want to keep track of this and see how the game is performing regarding the number of wallets, the volume of transactions, and everything that is related to the amount of players that are playing the game. So I try to keep this video straight to the point. Thank you for watching. If you like the videos that I'm creating, I would appreciate if you consider subscribing. Thank you for staying until the end. Stay strong and healthy. Bye.